Morning, Nigel. Are you still left with mixed emotions following that 3-3 draw at Blackpool?
Yes, to a certain extent. Quality of the performance was right up there, especially in the first half. Scored 3 good goals away, hit the post. George Maris missed a great chance as well to kill the game off. Very, very close to securing that what's been an elusive 3 points of late. But it's always get a good gauge after the game as well with the opposition. You know, with Steve Bruce, he's always honest, and we've known him a long time, and he said that's as good as we played against in the first half. And he mentioned 2 things. All his staff, actually, that's as good as we played against him. What about your fans? He said they were unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, that's they noticed their staff. He said couldn't believe the noise they made and how many he brought. He said normally, Blackpool, he said there's a scattering of fans or whatever, a few hundred or whatever. He said couldn't believe the support that we got.
From your perspective and the players here, how much did they aid you in that performance on Saturday?
Oh, completely, especially when you go 1-0 down against the run of play. They said they'd had one corner and then they scored a very well worked goal. We should be a little bit sort of moved across and a bit tighter with the back 3, but it was still a good goal. But from then on, they stuck with us and we kept playing. That was the nice thing. We didn't change. We just kept playing and got back into the game.
What aspects of Steg's attacking play were you most pleased with?
Lots of it. I thought the way we controlled the game in midfield, we weren't too sort of hasty. We didn't force it. We went back a couple of times to the back 3 and then even to Christie at times to go out the other side. And I think we kept the ball really well in the first half, but not in just keeping it for the sake of it, with a purpose. Will Evans had a couple of block shots from distance. Caelan just had one deflected just wide. We scored the 2 goals as well. So it was, apart from the conceding the goal, it was as good a 45 minutes as we've had of late.
How do you go about taking much of that performance at Blackpool on Saturday into tomorrow and then possibly Sunday, both at home?
Well, we just say to the players, this is what we've just done away from home. We're looking to play exactly the same. The opposition will be different. They might set up different and stop us. But that's the intention. It's lovely when you can point to something. And, of course, earlier on in the season, there's lots of things we can point to, going back to the first game at Barnsley and say, listen, this is how we want to play. But so many different factors come into that, whether you're able to do it or not. And a lot of it is the opposition.
Let's speak about the opposition. Tomorrow night, Lincoln City. It was a tough afternoon when we played them last.
Yeah, it was a strange one because I think we probably had as most possession that we've had in any game this season. It'll be a game that he won't want to remember. But we early on, we were in control of the game. They're very resolute and very organised and difficult to break down. And then they're very, very dangerous with set plays. So that'll be the biggest threat tomorrow.
Back to Saturday, and it marked the 700th career appearance for Lucas Akins. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I can't believe he's made that many. It's incredible. To make 700, what is he, 35 now, something like that, I think is a great testament to his fitness as much as anything, in his attitude. Even this last pre-season, he's 34, 35. He's right up there at the front of everything, all the running and everything. He's a very, very good professional, good athlete and a good professional.
A real stalwart.
Yeah, we've worked with him now for quite a few years. Inherited him at Burton. I think Gary Rowett bought him in from Tranmere many years ago for the princely sum of £20,000, I think, which was probably a bit too much. But he's been wherever he's been. I think he's become a fan's favourite, and also, more importantly, he's a teammate's favourite.
Why do you say that?
He's a team player, a person who just goes into different positions and still does a job as he does and has done over the years. There's not many people like that around who don't sulk or want to play up front or I want to play at the back or something. He just goes in, fills in wherever you need him, depending on the state of the game.
Let's speak about other players. Who's in the treatment room at the moment?
Quite a few. There's a few with knocks from Saturday. Bailey got quite a nasty knock on his hand, actually, when you saw the doc go on, which was sort of somebody stood right on it, dislocated a finger, and it's still quite swollen. Elliot, tight hamstring. George Williams, a couple with cramp on Saturday as well. So we'll have a count up at the end of today.
What about Fraser, Blake, Tracy, Deji, Oshalaja? Any latest there?
Yeah, they're coming on well. Fraser's training this week, so he's not going to be too far off, hopefully. And Deji's scheduled, I think, to train maybe the end of the week, if not early next week.
Any update on Matty Craig?
similar. Hopefully he'll be back on. He's back out on the grass, one-to-one stuff at the moment, and then he should be training end of the week, maybe starting next week as well. This big week for us with the 2 home games, but then we get a clear week after that. So it's really in that period after Wrexham that we would hope to get some work done with those lads.
You said after the Orient game that it was pretty likely that Lee Gregory would be out for the season. Is that confirmed now?
Well, he's having an operation tomorrow, and that's Tom's view that it's a sort of 12-week or something like that, possibly more, depending on what the surgeon finds when he goes in. It could even be more. So until they explore that tomorrow, we won't know.
Back to tomorrow night's game, what will be the approach from Stake's point of view?
Just the same as we have done recently. Try not to make any mistakes, I didn't think we made too many on Saturday. I didn't think we did a lot wrong in the game. We ended up conceding 3 goals, getting punished, we think, disproportionately. But, you look back to the last 2, we lost a man for the corner. Northampton cost us a game. Pimmy dropped one against Crawley, cost us a game. 2 valuable points there. So let's not make any mistakes.
Thank you. John?
So is the Lee Gregory one kind of an exploratory operation? Or?
No, there's specifically what is going in, but you never know the extent of it until you really get in there. It's meniscus issue. Yeah. So even if it's all straightforward, it's 12 weeks. So that's the minimum.
It's a real blow, really, because it's coming straight on the back of Reese Oates being ruled out.
Yeah, and it obviously coming a week after the transfer window closed as well. Crystal ball time, I think. I wish we'd have all had one. But we've got Jordan Rhodes in, we've got Caelan in, just as a little bit of insurance. I don't think we could have done much more than that anyway. But we thought Lee, he just went down in, which game was it? The Northampton game recently, yeah. I can't remember the one that he's actually has done the further damage in. That's the way it goes.
You think you might need any more cover in terms of a free agent or anything?
We can't squad-wise with the rules unless he's ruled out for, I think it's 4 months or more. So that, once again, that'll come on down to the operation and the surgeon's opinion, saying, well, if it's going to be longer than that, then there is a faint possibility that you might be able to replace him in the squad.
You say George Williams was just cramp?
Yeah, he's not played since October, so he's going to be feeling it, I think, a little bit today. So we'll see what sort of state he's in. Whether he can start again on Tuesday.
Superb to see him just walk in like that and play like that.
Oh, brilliant. Come straight in. And we should have brought him off a little bit earlier maybe, but, we were doing so well. You don't want to disrupt it. And then, we could... It's crystal ball time again. We were defending well and they hadn't had too many situations. And then, but then he was feeling it, obviously, after about 60, 70 minutes.
Just for the printed paper, one step on. Wrexham, obviously, not beaten them since the Hollywood money came in. Time we had a win over them.
Not many have. when they have those sorts of resources behind them. Very, very difficult. And you see their business that they did in January again, which is a statement really, smashing the transfer fee and bringing in Jay Rodriguez as 2. When you add that to sort of Fletcher and Mullin and the other strikers that they've got, it means that they're really potent, I think, attacking threat now, even more so than before.
Despite all the money, though, they've not really blown you away in any of the games, have they? They've been tight affairs.
They've been close, especially at Wrexham. We feel as though we've played well the last couple of seasons and not got our rewards. And even they played well here in the Cup. We got back into it. I think one was a 0-0, was it, as well, in the league. But yeah, we're maybe due a victory over them. But they've been very good close games.
Are you pleased that it's on a Sunday rather than a Saturday with the Lincoln game?
Yeah, I think so. It gives us that extra day when we have had Saturday, Tuesday. That won't do us any harm, especially with a clear week after that, we hope. And it gives everybody, Deji and Fraser and people like that, an extra day. You never know.
Let's start with the draw on Saturday. Mixed emotions after the game, of course, because obviously delighted to get a point and stop that rot, but also did it feel like an opportunity to get all 3?
Oh, definitely, especially being 3-1 ahead. We just feel as though we didn't do an awful lot wrong in the game to concede the 3 goals. And as we mentioned, I think after the game, we are getting punished disproportionately at the moment for just balls dropping in the box and everything. But in terms of the overall performance, that was as good as it's been for a good few weeks now. So we take a lot of heart from that.
Yeah, and was the main thing on Saturday, of course you wanted to go and get something, was it just crucially important to stop that rot and make sure you didn't equal that unwanted winless record?
Yeah, definitely. Just that was the main aim. It is in every game. Don't lose the game, and then win it if we can. And I think we adopt that attitude more than any other team in the league in terms of going for wins, which has cost us probably a little bit more. Maybe we should be a little bit more circumspect and shut up shop now and again. Not that we're very good at it with the players out, but the manner in which we played, will give us a lot of confidence as well.
Yeah, and has it always been sort of part of that way you want to play in terms of going forward and trying to win games, play entertaining football, and like you say, you're more than likely going to win more than you're going to lose, but it's all about providing entertaining football as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I think from day one since we came in here, we've tried to do that. Not always successfully, but we've tried to be on the front foot, and we've tried to go at teams home and away as well, which I think shows with the number of goals we've scored away from home over the years, 2 or 3 seasons, and that's our approach. We think that's our best way to win games, and when you're backed by the sort of support that we got again on Saturday, I think they want us to see us play like that as well, and that's what we try. You can't always do it. We were just talking earlier, the opposition dictate, certainly a lot of the times, our selection, our players' availability or whatever. A lot of things you can't attack every game. Man City can't attack every game. Liverpool can't attack every game, I read where they were under the cosh for the last 20 minutes at home to Wolves yesterday. That's what happens in football sometimes.
Yeah, and have you been tempted to change that approach at times during moments in games or against particular opposition, or are you happy with the way that you're playing because you know that you're going to get the best out of the players in that way?
Well, I think we have changed. We're not that sort of stuck in our ways. Let's just attack at all costs. I think we have gone a little bit more defensive-minded when we've needed to in games. But then the players that go back there have still got to do the jobs. And we would always rather, even when late on in games, we don't want to sit back as much. We put an extra defender on at times, but you can still go forward. And we'd still rather see out a game in a positive way than backs to the wall stuff.
Yeah, and going back to Saturday, the draw at Blackpool, what were you doing on Saturday that maybe you hadn't been doing as much so in the previous games? What made it click at Bloomfield Road?
Difficult to tell. I thought there was 11 good performances for a start. I don't think there was anybody off the game on Saturday. I would say you would struggle to pick a man of the match because there were so many good performances. So that certainly helps. Don't think we made any glaring errors. I thought their first goal, we should move across a little bit as the back three, but I thought it was a very well worked goal. If we'd scored that, we'd say, yeah, good goal. He cut inside, good run and finish. The second one just drops, can go absolutely anywhere and drops at his feet in the box. And the third one, CJ's provided a bit of pace. We should be tighter in the box, but there's nothing glaring as there was in the Crawley game. Pimmy dropped one. Corner against Northampton in those sorts of games. So it was much better from that point of view. And on a different day, George Marish puts the chance in, in the second half. We were 2-1 up at half time. We've got a third goal. We've hit the post and we've missed the best chance of the game as well. So that's what I mean about trying still to be positive. And on a different day, you win the game. Yeah,
and so how do you bottle up that positivity and that performance and use that to start a new run?
Well, the players have got to take it on now, and we've talked in the last few weeks when we're losing how close we've been in the games, and we have been, back to Wickham and things like that, when we should have had a draw. We should have had 3 or 4 draws easily in the run of games that we've lost, but now they've got to take it on. This is how we can play. This is what the potential we've got. We've done it earlier in the season. We've just got to do it a little bit more between now and May.
And it's a word we've used a lot of during the season, Nigel, and previous seasons, and that's character. And I think the players showed a lot of character in the midst of a very tough run, 7 defeats on the spin, and be able to put a performance in like that. How do you sort of, when you sort of think back to that, what do you want to see off the back of that, showing that character to move forward once again, sort of carry on the run like they did similarly in the season away at Charlton when they got the 0-0, built on that? Do you want to see something similar again?
Ideally, yeah, that would be great. But we just want them to see him trying to keep playing in the same vein and recognise what did we do Saturday? We got the ball down and played. everybody did their jobs pretty much. We've got to continue that sort of consistency between now and the end of the season if we can. Certainly helps, even just getting Bailey back in the team, on Saturday, I think helped us. His pass for Keanu's goal was outstanding, as well as his defensive duties. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll get the players back that were missing, Fraser and Deji. Unfortunately, it doesn't like we'll see Lee or certainly Reese again. Matty Craig's not far off as well. So sort of for the last 13 and 14 games, we'd hope to have a few more available.
Yeah, you mentioned after the game on Saturday, Alfie Kilgore wasn't involved. Is that a mental thing? Do you think is he having a bit of a tough time off the pitch, given what he's been through in his recovery?
Yeah, I think it's been such an up and down 18 months or so for him, probably longer. Doing his Achilles twice in that period as well. He just got the boot off and then it went again. Fresh operation, you start from scratch. He comes back, he does well, and then you're bound to have a little bit of a dip. There was things happening in January where there was a chance of him going somewhere, which I think personally would have been suited him. That didn't quite happen. He's cost a goal or two at Cambridge. He's not come back, I think, since the initial when you initially come back and you get that high, since the initial high, he struggled a little bit. And of course, we're not in a position where we can put him out there every single week when you're making mistakes. So he gets through it and he plays regularly. So he'll be in and around the squad again tomorrow, and we'll see how he's doing. But we'll continue to look after him as best we can. And I think he'll play a part between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, how do you look after that situation? It's quite a unique situation, given Alfie Kilgore with the injury, the nature of it, and on top of that, he's returned, and you're in the league above.
Yeah, it's all you take it all like that, and you say all the different things, and it all within 10 seconds you say the situation, you can summarise it, but the effect it can have on your mental health and everything is quite significant. So as I say, we'll stick with him, keep supporting him as best we can, the same as we will with any player. Reece Oates, who's doing something similar.
Yeah, you touched on George Maris, unfortunately missing that opportunity on Saturday, but I think Saturday marked his 200th appearance for the club. He's been one of the mainstays since you arrived, Nigel. What is it about George in particular that makes him such a crucial member of this squad?
I think his flexibility is one thing. He plays anywhere across the midfield or one on, just off a striker as well. And on his day, I think he's capable of creating or scoring goals. He scored some very, very important goals for us over that period of time. So I think it's all that. We'd like to see a little bit more consistency from him, and even more goals, a goal threat if we can. But he played extremely well on Saturday, and hopefully he'll continue to do that.
And the same with Jordan Barry. I know he was at the club when you arrived, Nigel, a couple of years ago or so. Sort of them two have been there, been at Mansfield the longest. What is it about them two and the longevity of having a player at a club for quite some time in the current climate where players aren't around as much as they used to be?
Well, we've got to get better than them, and I don't think we can in the position that we're in at the moment. So I think there's three still there. I think Steve McLaughlin's another one, isn't he? I think there's only probably three of them, and they're good players, good pros, and they're making a contribution. And that's why they're still here.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, all the best for tomorrow night, Nigel, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jake.